You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to
First available helper.
That's where you come in.
establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present?
Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app,
Correct image.
and we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in. So, would you care to be my eyes?
We live in a world that is not necessarily accessible for blind and visually impaired people. According to the World Health Organization, there is as many as 2.2 billion people who are struggling with some to severe visual impairment. And I don't think that it's intended not to be, but quite often the design is just keeping them from getting full access to an experience. My name is Christian Erfurt. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes is an app enabling blind and visually impaired people to see through the eyes of sighted volunteers for visual interpretation of everyday challenges. I had no idea that there would be so many people who would be struggling with everyday scenarios, and I would probably take that for granted until we started Be My Eyes and getting insights to how inaccessible many of these experiences are. Be My Eyes is actually mapping the world of inaccessibility, because any call coming into our community represents something that we need to improve. We've grown organically to be in 150 countries with 5.5 million volunteers. And I think the reason is that there's an obvious need to exist for the blind, and it has shown that the volunteers are very, very interested to take part of it, to get that gratifying experience from being part of this small micro-volunteering event. I think we live in a time where we are turning out stones in society and setting new and higher standards. And the beauty is really that there's no going back from a higher standard. With a digital, transparent world, we will succeed at making the world more accessible.
Joshua Avino has had low vision since birth. He lives and works independently, but occasionally needs some visual help.
If I need to read some type of mail or some type of packet, can be a little bit challenging. It's usually asking somebody around me, or if I'm feeling brave, taking a guess.
Now he has another option, a smartphone app called Be My Eyes that connects him with sighted volunteers who describe what his camera sees.
Hello?
Hello. I was wondering if you'd be able to help me figure out some type of teas I have available.
Yeah,
Okay. So this one here.
that looks like a passion tea.
Okay.
Kaya has been a volunteer for about a year.
I like to help people, I guess, so I thought it would be a cool opportunity.
Be My Eyes is a free service that has about 316,000 blind and low vision users in 175 countries and nearly 5 million volunteers. Users can also access specialized tech support for computer software, personal care products, and even pregnancy tests.
Microsoft was first, and after that came Google and Procter & Gamble and all these other companies who are kind of joining Be My Eyes to meet the community where they are.
At Be My Eyes, building community is a priority.
We put out regular stories in the app and on social media. We put out 3 podcasts. What our blind and low vision users need as much as eyesight is community.
forging connections among users and volunteers that reach beyond solving everyday problems. Matt Dibble for VOA News, San Francisco.
You're listening to a community story from Be My Eyes.
Hi, my name is Tucker Dupree. I am a 3-time Paralympian, 4-time Paralympic medalist, based out of Chicago. So I have a condition called Leber's hereditary optic neuropathy, and that took 80% of my central vision when I was 17 years old. And so I have about 20% of my peripheral vision left. I still see in color. I just use accessibility technology to fill the void of my vision loss. So I currently work as the colleague experience lead for the Americas at BP. And what we're trying to do at BP is make it so that all of our colleagues and visitors and contractors, everyone that comes to visit BP or comes to work at BP, feels like they can bring their full selves to work by making sure that we're mapping that colleague experience and having people really feel like they can bring their full selves to work every day and not be afraid to speak up if they have accessibility needs, no matter what that may be, whether it's visual impairment or any other type of physical accommodations they're looking for. They know that BP is a safe place to have that conversation and have the opportunity to really come to work every day feeling like they are part of our core value of one team. So really exciting stuff, working with Microsoft, a lot of different partners to really bring that experience to life so that we can become the most accessible energy company in the world. That's our goal. All accessible technology like Be My Eyes, especially all the different pieces that Be My Eyes offers, is something that I think is just really powerful. We're always looking for new technology and volunteering opportunities as well. So I think that's one of the coolest parts about Be My Eyes is that it's not just an application that helps the visually impaired or non-sighted. It has the opportunity to have the sighted or people with great eyes have that opportunity to help that community all from a mobile device. So I think that's something that is so powerful. We're really trying to make sure that people know about Be My Eyes to have that opportunity to really help the blind community and really make sure that they really understand the application and having that opportunity to help people like myself. I lost my vision at 17 years old in 2007. And so when I started to lose my vision, I was just very inquisitive about just different technologies that would help fill this void of my vision loss. And in 2007, the technology is not at all where it is today. And so now, just in today's world of 2021, where we're attached to our smartphones, I think that it's just such a great opportunity to have the fact that this one device now puts all of those other what would be now archaic devices into one. So the fact that Be My Eyes is that tool, I've always been asking around, and I was actually introduced to Be My Eyes by one of my friends who's completely blind. His name is Alex Gillette, and he was, we were just talking about things that he used and everything like that. So I was actually introduced to it I want to say in like 2015, 2016, when we were just kind of training together and all of that. And he was just mentioning that he used this new app and it was a volunteer that could help him. And I was just like blown away. So I downloaded it. And I remember my first experience with Be My Eyes was actually at an airport. I was walking around and trying to see the terminal like screens that would tell you which gate to go to. And it was one of those things where I was like, it's on my phone, let's give it a spin. So pulled it out. I remember calling a volunteer and they helped me find my gate. And I was just like, that was so simple. And it didn't make me feel vulnerable to having to ask a stranger that was around me and having to explain that I am visually impaired because I'm not a cane user. So I don't look to the average person as a person that is visually impaired. So it's one of those things that I got to kind of keep that to myself, but also have the opportunity to have technology fill that void of vision loss, but not having to have that moment of vulnerability of talking to somebody, having to explain that I know I don't look blind, I'm 80% visually impaired. I didn't have to have that conversation, so I got to skip that step and really have the opportunity to get to the gate that I needed to go to. And I made my flight on time. It's not just about the community on the receiving side that are helping the visually impaired, but we all talk to each other, and we all know that the world is not built for the blind. So it's something that, anytime we, in our group of friends, we have a group chat of mostly blind or visually impaired athletes that we used to train with. And it's something that, we talk about different technologies that are out there, but, it's one of those things that you really, it's the community on the blind and visually impaired side too. So I think it's just such a great community on both sides. So I would say that it's just very powerful, especially in today's world of COVID. I think that we're all trying to find great ways to give back. And I think that that's something that this opportunity as a volunteer gives that community is the ability to help the blind community and give back to someone that can't see. And that's just something that a lot of sighted people might take for granted, but those quick wins that a blind person can expedite their day-to-day by using Be My Eyes is something that being a volunteer does, and you can do it from the comfort and safety of your home. So I think that's just an awesome opportunity, especially in the environment that we're in today. Being blind like myself, we're always looking for quick wins is kind of the way I try to explain it, of having that opportunity to say, like, you know what, I'm done with being frustrated with building this piece of furniture, doing a task. So it's like, I needed to just go to Be My Eyes first, but I'm a very prideful person. So I just need to remind myself that this is always, a tap away, right? Like you can click, call a volunteer or whatever it may be on this side. So I think it's just one of those things that I need to always remind myself too, that, I have this virtual assistant basically in my pocket, and I need to make sure that I use it more, but it is something that is very nice to still use while being in quarantine. As a visually impaired person in the corporate world, I do believe that most people want to always help, especially when they find out that I'm a visually impaired user. And a great example is when I go to meetings, I can't normally see, a presentation across the room. So I have to advocate for myself to ask people to maybe send the pre-read around or, send something over to me prior to a meeting. But, I think that once you have that conversation about, hey, I'm visually impaired, people's like facial expressions, their whole demeanor will change. And I think it's because of that feeling of belonging and community and wanting to have the opportunity to help. So I would say that a solution like Be My Eyes, if you're wondering, like how do we help our visually impaired people in our workforce, this is just a great opportunity to one, have your sighted employees volunteer to help the visually impaired, but also having that opportunity to have a solution in place for people that may come to your business that would have a need or an accommodation like visual impairment or being blind. Having this Be My Eyes stood up in your business would help that solution right away. So you have an answer whenever you start to maybe employ visually impaired people like myself.
Thank you for listening to this community story from Be My Eyes. You can share your story too. Send it to mystory@bemyeyes.com. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, download our app, or visit bemyeyes.com/community-stories for more.